In summary, Zeus in charge of the church. Melchizedek is the angel of peace with the sovereign son. In summary, in walking with God. When I was a child, with all this stuff and poverty and this and that, I call it the bleeding heart syndrome. You know, this problem and that problem. If you're a Christian, you could kind of relate to it. End of the day, what's been explained to me is what Jesus said. The reality is that you're either aware or unaware. Either that you come from God or you don't come from God. I just shortlisted, which is the end of the day, which is you're godless or you're godlike. It's that simple. Regardless of who you're dealing, what color of creation is, you aware you come from God or you're not aware you come from God. I call it delinquency, right? The whole thing is the liberal governments and everything else is delinquency. They don't follow the commandments and they want to be compensated. End of the day, in summary, as a Christian, you'll recognize that from prosperity side. You go to church, you follow the commandments, you go to church on a Sunday, which is to meet other sons and daughters of Zeus. Sunday is the day of rest, God, family, and friends. Pretty simple. USA, I gave the same advice to the USA, to Iran, to everyone else. Stop pissing your money away in the Middle East. End of the day, these people are poor for a reason. They don't follow the commandments. You got the Pope, helping this and helping that and doing this and doing that. They don't follow the commandments. That's why they're poor. They don't go to church on a Sunday. That's why they're poor. What don't you understand? If they want to change, great. Right? But I'm here to set the record straight. The Christians are correct. Okay? No more persecution of the Christians. It's correct. Same with the Jews. Moses was given the 10 Commandments, not Muhammad. God didn't give me the commandments. He gave me something else, which I documented today. But Moses was given the 10 Commandments, not Muhammad. Okay? So I don't want to hear any more shit from Islam. Your whole problem, the binding of Isaac in Palestine. Okay? Son of Zeus and the whole bit. You haven't followed the commandments in a long, long time. Even talking to a lady I met in Ethiopia up here in Greece, talking about Ethiopia, and she laughed. I said, you guys haven't followed any commandments, and she laughed. She goes, yeah, we know. So it's all documented. The whole thing from Israel, Father, Son, universes, is you haven't followed the commandments. But I don't want to hear any more crap about Christians' persecution, the whole bit, because it's correct. The whole thing on the Eucharist, this is not my body. Represents Melchizedek, which is two aspects, which is the angel of peace with Zeus. But the body in the white brotherhood is fire. And God is against, by the way, the KKK. Okay? I'm not in favor in terms of what Donald Trump did because he didn't recognize God and he turned the whole thing into white trash. Right? This is not what the white race represents, by the way. The white race is the higher heavens, not the lower heavens. If you want to be really politically correct, people who are brown is the sun within creation. Now you're coming into the sun, the commandments with righteousness. Right? Which is get rid of all evil. Right? Is confront all evil. Right? Not to live in corruption. That's from the angel of for righteousness. But that's what it is. It's actually more strict than your guidelines coming in from God. But in summary, as a Christian, walking with God and explaining everything, they don't hear you because they don't belong to God. Remember that. All your pain and misery that you've experienced today in a Christian, I've lost $1.5 million, okay, in walking with God. I'm going to go back to that story when I did the the insurance story, and I applied for a job. Remember that story. And at the end of the summary, she says, Mr. Bell, you're almost perfect. If there's one thing that you were to choose from yourself that you have a problem with, what would it be? And I said, I'm arrogant. Why would you call yourself arrogant? Because I'm never wrong. So, what's the summary? Walking with God? Pretty close to perfect. But the reality is, my tears and my prayers and everything else, praying to God, turn the other cheek. I do this, I do that. God finally came to me in 1986. End of the day, God explaining to me the suffering of mankind came down to that one simple phrase, what Jesus said, they don't hear you, they don't belong to God. So, I lost $1.5 million in that time period. Who's to blame? All the money that I lost specifically was dealing with godless people. I brought these people into my life, right? I've done business with them. They didn't follow the oath, which is to Zeus. You break your oath and promises and everything else. The reality of the situation is, who's to blame? I'm to blame, not God. Reality is that if I didn't deal with these people to begin with, I'd be a very wealthy man. But unfortunately, with the bleeding heart syndrome as a Christian, I love everyone. I help everyone. But eventually it's going to bite you in the ass. So, you could weave. I call it weaving. Right? Only one question you want to find out when you're dealing with people and family, friends, and that is, do they belong to God? Do they follow the commandments? Very important if you're going to get married. You could have sex before marriage. God is in favor of birth control. God was with another woman, had an abortion, tubal pregnancy. God is in favor of women, their tubes tied, and birth control, making important that you find the right person. But you can have sex before marriage. It's not a sin. Finding the right person in this environment is, I'm not saying it's next to impossible, but the bottom line is men are focused on what is money, power, and sex. Women are interested in materialism, financial security and so forth. The bottom line is the women's responsibility. The daughter is an extension of the father. So the women need to know the commandments because you're in charge of procreation. By the way, like I said, God is not gay. I've had sex. It's a documented fact. Okay? I'm looking for other women too. So at the end of the day, gay marriage doesn't exist. There is no such thing as gay marriage. Okay? Monkeypox. Let's talk about monkeypox. All you liberal Democrats. The government's scared shitless to tell you the truth. True story. Monkeypox has nothing to do with monkeys. Has to do with rats. Okay? It's a disease that comes from rats. Now, how do rats and gay people and monkeypox coexist? The fact is, gay men have sex with gerbils and mice in their ass. Okay? You understand about gay marriage now? Okay? There's no gay marriage. Gay men stick rats, mice, and gerbils in their ass and they have sex. It's a true story. I'll tell you why. We're having dinner one night. My brother Stephen was married to a nurse, Tracy. And she was called into an emergency. She's an ER doctor. She's retired now. But she was called into an emergency. She had to stay. We waited for her for Sunday dinner. She showed up late. She phoned. She had dinner without me and said, no, we're going to wait for you until you come because we're going to have dinner together as a family. She finally comes to dinner. My brother-in-law says, so what was the emergency? She says, I can't tell you with your father here. And it's like, that's my dad, Thomas. No, come on. What was the emergency? Don't worry about him. And she, I don't want to tell you this. Right? I don't think your dad's going to like this. Don't worry about him. Just tell us the story. So I said, fine. Well, the story is a gay man came into the hospital and we had to do an emergency surgery because we had to remove mice out of his ass. Okay? Now you can put two and two together. So you have the gay people who put mice out. So you have a true story that, unfortunately, trying to remove the mice out of their ass. And that explains monkeypox. Gay marriage, transgender is wrong. They're the ones who are losing your prosperity and listening to them. End of the day, I've done my job. Right? Europe is going to... How can I say this? The European Council is finished. I'm in charge, not you, Brussels. Zeus is told Brussels is coming here to Greece. Arrivederci, cheerio, bye-bye. All those policies and everything else, you can take a hike. They want people in the Brussels European Parliament, they can apply for a job. But at the end of the day, the liberal agenda is finito. It's finished. And if you don't want to come, that's fine too. That's the rise and fall of empires. You'll be split off. Done. If UK wants to join the new European Union under my control, they're welcome to join. Same with France. Remember this, I'm God and King. The King rules. I'm giving you a choice. You want to come or you want to go. But these are the rules. I've spelled it out for your prosperity and the rise and fall of empires. End of the day, I've done my job as you could say that from the Messiah and everything else, confirmed what is right and what is wrong. But no more. The whole thing from Europe, the European side, Sons of El, from Russia to the UK, is to one church. It comes down to, there's a song I wrote, and it comes down to oath. And it's something I'll read to you, and you'll understand. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. It comes back to a song I made in 1986 when I was at church. And this song, the priests are taking collections for retirement. And I said, that's not right. I said, I would make a song, now donate the song to the priests for their retirement. So they wouldn't have to do this, and this. Bottom line is God's been waiting for me to do this for a long time. Since 1986, is make this song for priest retirement. But that's oath. And that's my focus going forward, is just completing this oath. Which comes back down to another parable. Comes back down to another parable in terms of with the heart, the energy, and so forth. I can't find this parable on my phone right now, but the bottom line is that when you're with God and you do oath, don't break your oath. That's the important message. You're better off to promise anything to anyone than breaking your oath. I got one thing I have to do, which is to make this song a cappella style. In this song, though, I'll give you a brief summary. May our few times together great memories we'll share, and may our hearts not forget to tell each we care, and may our borders be dropping and our hearts rule our minds. May we be happy, not saddened, in all Christmas times. Now, brief summary of that song. May our borders be dropping. 1986, 1987, 1988, when I started writing this song, the Berlin Wall collapsed. May our borders be dropping. The family was united. Germany was united. One family tribe. My grandfather actually comes, our tribe in that respect, my grandfather comes from Germany. And then from Germany, probably from there to Greece and so forth. But the fact is that may our borders be dropping. There's different tribes. Germany was united. A different tribe altogether. But the whole point is, in taking may our borders be dropping in that song, applies to Africa and applies to India. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, doesn't exist. It's part of the same family tribe. Okay, so you have the sun, width, and creation, which they call Hindu, the Hindu gods. They're actually walking images of the Shiva, Shakti, and all these other different gods. But may our borders be dropping. Same thing applies to Mexico. You see El Salvador, that's Zeus, El. See the Sun Temple in Mexico. It's the same family tribe. There's no reason from that creation that they should be coming into America. The good thing about from the Mexican side is that they're Christian. But if they're not following the commandments, one tribe cannot interfere with another tribe. That's all there is to it. Sorry to say, but if you're black, you belong in Africa. You know, our family didn't take the black slaves and do this, this, and this. That's another family in England in that respect, which it's unbelievable. But there's a lot of stuff that's happened in history the royal family is not responsible for. Other families, barbarians and everything else, they're responsible for the mess. But the reality is, I've given you enough information to make the changes. But may our borders be dropping. And if you listen to my tribe, you two one. The song one. We're one and we're not the same. That's why we're going to have the Sun concert. We're one, but we're not the same. Every language is a church. But the fact is that the 7 fallen churches of Asia, look at it, they're in Turkey. Ukraine and Russia both come from the tribe of Turkey. They come from Turkey. They're fallen. Right? Comes from Macedonia side. Macedonia, they don't speak Greek, but they're Greek. They're the first tribe of Zeus from Mount Olympus. But it's all documented there from the church side. But they're fallen. You got Lucifer, you got this, you got that. Right? So, I've given enough information. Greece is the new Jerusalem. Not USA, not Canada, not the UK. God asked me to come to Greece. It's the new Jerusalem. A house needs to be built for God. Pretty simple. You're with God or you're against God by not recognizing your own divinity, which I've clearly explained to you. But going forward, you're going to stop blaming God. You're going to learn to weave. That's basically what it comes down to. I've asked God this many times. I said, why don't you just drop these people dead? His response to me, certain times I wake up at night and research a Bible passage. God is merciful to the ungrateful and the wicked. Very true. But my opinion, walking with God, is I drop him dead. His opinion is this: you're doing good. Stick to what I've given you, which is hire and fire, and instruct the governments to balance budgets. But the reality is, I've properly explained, if you knew that God existed, you would not do the things that you do. End of the day, if everyone recognizes that they come from God within different one family tribes, then you've created heaven. But the fact is, there's similarities between Islam and Christianity. They're both wrong. There is no Sunni and Shia religion. They're both full of shit. Okay? It's the same problem that Christianity has. Protestant and Catholic. You understand where I'm going with this? I go to the UK, I go to France, whatever. You're white, he's white, you're brothers and sisters. You're brown, he's brown, you're brothers and sisters. That was the main message of Jesus. You're brothers and sisters. Pretty simple message. You're not Sunni, you're not Shia. Just look at each other. Go to India, Sri Lanka. Just look, they're brown. They're brothers and sisters, the same tribe. There's no nations and languages and religion. Get rid of it. Start from scratch. Look at each other. Who do you think your brothers and sisters are? Then you're going to find out who's God and godless. Then you're going to learn the weave. But the reality of the situation is that Greece is the New Jerusalem. My family will be bringing the Olympics full-time to Greece. This should have been done 10 years ago. The World Cup, if I'm nice, Italy might get it. Who knows? Zeus is in charge of a lot of things. But the reality is that this house here in Greece is not divided. One church. The Orthodox priest should be wearing white, not black. You're going to make the changes. The Pope of Rome. But they're correct on the Eucharist, which I've shown you. And as for forgiveness and stuff like that, I've read certain things that, priests having sex with Mary, that's a sin. At the end of the day, if you're a woman and a priest, a priest should not be having sex with any member of the congregation. I'm sorry to say, you're not going to have your sins forgiven. Okay? End of the day, they're just walking sons of Zeus, aware or unaware. But in terms of sleeping with them or this or members of the congregation that you read in the papers or this has happened or that happened, no. The reality is, from the Buddhist side, it's action, and God does have sex. I don't understand where these nuns come from. I don't even know what these nuns do. But the reality is, in describing my life walking with God, God is action. There's major changes coming down, which I've properly explained. If you don't want to listen, it's not my problem. The reality is, I'm with God and you're not. This is the new covenant. Greece is the new Jerusalem. Have a nice day.